Was not going to do this video. I thought about it for 500 miles. It was up in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been up there since August the 3rd. Taking care of my mama. August the 11th. 88 years old. Was in Indianapolis attending to fires, and the call come in. My best friend died a few days ago, and his funeral was today. You know, I couldn't say nothing at the funeral. Maybe I can now. I would have said, Fuzzy, you was my friend. Fuzzy was my friend. Let's light a candle for Fuzzy. He was a good guy. He was in the Vietnam War. And Fuzzy told me some stories. Most people, I would say the bigger part of the people that know Fuzzy would have said that he did not talk about his experiences in Vietnam. But you know, Fuzzy talked to me about Vietnam. I went to Fuzzy's funeral today. And you know, I don't have a solid color shirt with me. All I have is these checkered shirts. Today I would have liked to have on a solid color shirt. But Fuzzy told me those stories along the way. We would be riding down the road, maybe going to an engine show, and he would take us. When we got close to home, Fuzzy grew up down in that area, and he would always take me a shortcut, he called it. It was the long way around, but it was because he wanted to show me something. And he would say, right over there is where the old railroad depot used to be. There at the crossroads. A cotton gin that had long gone. He would point that out to me. Fuzzy liked me. And I liked Fuzzy. If I could have had a brother in life, I would have chosen Fuzzy to be my brother. And I would have been proud of him. You know, for that Vietnam War thing, you know, Fuzzy did his part. Worked at the junkyard, and he liked it. Fuzzy actually worked at the junkyard. You know, you could in later years, you know, you called it an auto parts place, but it was a junkyard. You know, that back in there when they had that fuel, you know, when they bought them cars that had a whole bunch of miles on them, you know, you could take them down there and get a good trade-in on an old clunker. Anyways, you had to put something in those engine blocks, the dealer did, when Now this is what Fuzzy done later in years. A parts man. He would drive the truck and delivered parts to the a long ways, you know. And Fuzzy was my friend, for sure. Fuzzy befriended me. I knew his brother, the company I worked for. His brother worked for the company that we dealt with. And I knew him, but I didn't know the connection for a long time. Fuzzy befriended me at a gas engine show. You know, just come over and took up a seat there at my camper. You know what I mean? Just hung out all day. And he liked it, and I did too. Never seen a man before, I don't think. You know, and that got to be the norm. If I was at an engine show and had that camper on that Toyota in that trailer, you know, he would come down in his pickup truck and come right over there and sit down there at that camper and as his own. As his own. But Fuzzy called me up not too long ago, and what was I doing? You know, and he says, he come over to the house and stayed all day. And the next day he told me to come over to his house with my trailer, that he wanted to give me some stuff and he wanted to sell some engines. So I goes over there, and I think I bought 5 engines that day, internationals. I'm pretty sure it was 5. It was 2 3-horsepower, and I think it was a 3 1.5, some kind of form. But I sold Fuzzy an engine. I tell you what, a story about Fuzzy. He got a monitor engine down there. Fuzzy did have, I believe it was a monitor that he bought that engine and took it apart, and Fuzzy's, I tell you what, I'm almost to the point where I would volunteer to the family that if they wanted me to take that monitor engine, I'm saying this public for one and all, if they wanted me to take those parts, you know, I think I would take that on as my life project to get that engine running for Fuzzy. You know, I think I could do that. So, we'll see if that might come to pass. But anyways, I went down, and I think Fuzzy knew then that he had some problems that he didn't tell nobody about. I think Fuzzy knew back then, because like I say, I bought those engines at the price he paid for them. You know, I mean, I was with him when he bought them, so he wanted me to have them. And he gave me a bunch of crap that day, scrap iron, wheels and stuff, loaded my trailer down. You know, I knew then that, and I'm going to be the same way. You know what I mean? I need to liquidate some of my engines. Whew. I'm still buying it when I can get something at the price I can afford. You know, I've got no objection to buying a part every now and then. But I've seen a couple of people today that I hadn't seen in a long time. And you know, I think Fuzzy was my best friend. And I have another best friend. His name is Mike. I think Mike is, I would say he's my best friend. I can call him, and he will actually talk to me for a long period of time. But I don't call Mike enough. Ex-wife I have, I called her up. As time goes on, it's been a while now. But anyways, I called up my ex-wife. You know, me and her's on good terms. But I haven't seen her in a long time, and I feel that I should go see her. I think I had a feeling some time ago that, you know, at least I was supposed to call Fuzzy. He always called me on my birthday. He remembered stuff like that. When he would know you, he somehow or another, he'd get around by your birthday, and he'd put in that telephone, and when it come up there, he would call you on the phone and say, happy birthday. Fuzzy didn't call me this year, you know. I liked Fuzzy. Family. You know what I mean? His family took me right in there like they knowed me. He took me down to visit his mama. A very likable lady. Fuzzy took me down to visit her, and she cooked dinner for me and him. That's hospitality. The only time I ever was at her house, it was good too. I don't remember what it was. I think we had green beans, I'm pretty sure, and something else. You know what I mean? One time they had a pool, backyard cookout thing at the swimming pool. You know, Fuzzy toted me over there with him to that pool gig. You know, totally out of line for me and him. But I enjoyed it. Fuzzy did too. Fuzzy had a smile that... Just leave a comment down there. For sure. If you've never left a comment on my channel page, and you know Fuzzy, leave a comment. Yeah, I met a couple of people today that I hadn't seen in a long time. I would consider those two persons my friends, Clinton and Tony. Clinton's wife is a very nice lady, classy. If you know Clinton, leave a comment as to his wife's appearance. You know what I mean? It's like a fantasy doll-like. She is very, very nice. Very nice. And I think Clinton is very proud to be with her. And you know, from day one, when you see one of them, you see the other. There's no separation. And that's the way it should be. It's like the perfect couple. And Tony, the same shoes, man. Tony, you've done good. You and the missus, a very classy lady. Very classy. Tony's a good man. I like Tony. You know, I've known Tony for a long time. He's very smart. Oh yes, and Mr. Jim. Good seeing you, sir. I love you. For sure, Mr. Jim. You know, that's what Mr. Jim always says, and today he didn't. I said it first. Mr. Jim's pretty smart too. You know that electric stuff? You know what I mean? There was a time when he was on his game with that electric stuff. And I tell you something about Mr. Jim. You know, me and him has had some conversations. Actually, I tell you what about Mr. Jim. With the highest regard. You know, how should I put this? The things that I know about Mr. Jim is stuff that other people told me. I'm talking Fuzzy. Man, Fuzzy has told me some stories about Mr. Jim. He knowed him. But he's really smart on this electrical stuff, Mr. Jim. But you know, I don't have this solid color shirt. I do have a black one at belt buckle, but I'm in here on the east coast of Arkansas, and I heard that train a while ago. Man, we got 7 cats out there. Boy, there's more to that story. Whew. Man, don't go away and leave a stray cat in your backyard. Because when you come back, you're going to have 7 baby kittens. And that's not my cat. But you know, I went today I bought a sack of cat food. You know what I mean? I'm going to feed them. But, man, 7 kittens. Boy, that's a load on that mama cat. You know what I'm talking about. Gosh, 7. And she totes them around. They was underneath the neighbor's car hood today. Out there with a bucket of water. I think they ended up with a garden hose, flushed them out. Behind the motor in the firewall. You couldn't get at them, Whew. I wasn't involved in it in any ways. I just know about it. I'm just saying, man. Okay, you do the math on this. 1 cat had 7 cats. Okay, them little cats is about, well, I've been gone a month, a week or 2. So I'm going to say 6 weeks old. They already run in the neighborhood. I'm talking about out there in the street even. Over underneath the neighbor's car hood. Meowing up in there. You know what I mean? What you going to do? You're not going to start the car. But anyways, I bought the cat food today. Fed them today. They wasn't hungry. They're well fed. They're not my cats. But anyways, I left the food out there. It was some dry stuff. Man. You know what I mean? It looks like a cereal. I mean, in a pinch, they do come a point in starvation. I mean, I have not reached that yet. It's just imaginary in my head, and see if it's likable to you and leave a comment. There is a point where let's say I was in this house and I couldn't get out, and I had a lot of milk laid in the cabinet in there in the freezer. I had some milk in there, 6 gallon or so, a large amount. And time went on, and at this point, you have done eat everything in the house. I'm talking, there ain't nothing left, you know what I mean. Okay, you've got milk left in there, and you happen up on that new bought, it's $1.90 or something like that. Pretty good sized bag of it too. But anyways, I went ahead and got it, sprung that cat's worth $1.90, Gosh. Put the food out there and the cat just turned its nose up to my food. You know what I mean? It ain't hungry. Whew. So, I even spied one of them down the ways there with a pink collar on it. Somebody's done already took it in. But he was out running the neighborhood. Oh, a pretty cat. Man.